Hello everyone, it's Stamp Ventures with Shauna, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada. Welcome to my Tuesday tutorial. It's November 10th here in Saskatchewan and 9 p.m. in our province. So if you're catching this, I think that's 8 p.m. Mountain Time and 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. No, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're Central right now. So if you're catching me right now, then you're catching me live. If it's after that, then you're probably catching the recording. Just realize that as I'm trying to sync up to my iPad that I forgot to turn the sound off. So I'm just doing that right now so we're not going to get too many weird sounds going on as I'm doing the video. There, I think I got it. Oh, hello Pam from North Carolina. Great to see you on here, and thank you so much for sharing the video. I really appreciate that. Anyone who is enjoying this and might know some friends that would like some tips for using velvet paper or ideas for using velvet paper, share away. That really helps me out, and I super appreciate it. Hi Nicole, I think I saw your message pop through just before I started with the video here, and thank you for working on that block, and yeah, I'll just watch for it when you're able to drop that by. Thanks so much. It's 10 Eastern Standard, that's it. 10 in the East, 9 in Central, and 8 in Mountain. Saskatchewan is strange because we don't move our clocks back and forth. We always stay the same. So part of the year, like right now, we are on Central Standard Time, and then the other part of the year we're on Mountain Time. So yeah, it gets kind of confusing in there. Well, hello Lori. Thanks for hopping on, and hi to Lydia and Glenda. I know you just saw me recently, and here I am again. So I am going to share with you 8 different ways that you can try using some velvet paper, and I'll share that with you shortly. Just a few things that I'll start with. First of all, our weather for the day is winter wonderland. We have officially had our first blizzard of the year, and we've got tons of snow, like so much snow that you really wish that you had a snowblower. We don't, but fortunately our neighbor next door, Rob, does have a snowblower, and he came out and quickly blew out our driveway, which saved my husband and my son probably an hour or so of shoveling. So that was really nice of him. He just came over and did it, and we so appreciated that. I mean, we're still doing the sidewalks and all the smaller parts, but that sure helped make things go quickly. Well, hello to a few more who have dropped in there. Hi to Karen and Sheila, I think, has hopped on there now. Oh yes, Glenda. I wasn't sure if I was coming back on tonight. I wasn't sure either there, Glenda, because I wasn't super organized earlier, but I think I've got it together now. So yeah, so Weatherbird is winter wonderland. The other really odd thing that happened to us today is we had no running water for about 3.5 hours. And yeah, it was a surprise because we're trying to get a drink from the tap, and then it was just like coming out in a really small trickle of water, and my husband's like, well, what's going on? So we're trying all the taps around the house, and then he's like, oh yeah, I think I saw them digging in the street down the way, and sure enough, a block away there had been a water main break. So my question to you, if any of you have ever had a water main break and they've come and told you, okay, your water's going to be off for several hours, and here's the list of things when the water comes back on, you're supposed to boil it and be in a boil water advisory until we've checked the water and make sure that it's safe. How do you know when the water is safe? Like, should we be going onto the City of Moose Jaw website will they tell us when it's safe to start drinking our water again, or do we just look and see, call our neighbors and say, are you drinking the water yet? So if you've had any experience that way, I'd like to know, because they said, you know, boil it for a minute for the next while, but they didn't tell us for like how long. So, oh, hello to my friend Diane down in Kitchener. Did I remember that? And to a few others of you who have hopped on as well. So, a couple reminders about some things that are happening Stampin' wise. I have a Christmas card class that's going to be happening next week, and it's either going to be stamping by yourself or with a buddy and just stamping the greetings and then taking the pieces home to put the cards together. We call it masked stamping, and I've got the cards here for a quick peek at what we'll be making. But if you don't want to come, or you can't come, you're not comfortable coming to do masked stamping and stamp your greetings, I've made these cards simple enough that you could just get a takeout package and stamp the greetings at home with whatever stamps you may have on hand. I've used real red ink, soft suede ink, and old olive ink. So they're fairly common ink colors that people may have on hand, and you can make a little stack of 8 cards, and yeah, I'll have all the paper and the pieces cut for you. You can just stamp and assemble them. So let me know by Friday the 13th. That's a really easy date to remember if you'd like to get on this class, because then that'll give me a few days. The in-person stamping, the mask stamping, is happening on Wednesday and Thursday next week, and the takeout packages will be ready for pickup on Friday. So yeah, let me know by Friday the 13th if you're interested in the class. The other thing, oh, Lori Bjorklund, you've got maybe an answer to my question. We've had many boil water advisories the town always posts on their website when it's lifted. Okay, I'll have to check. And because ours is just a small area of the city, I guess I just have to make sure I'm reading about the correct area, because I would imagine that there might be other, in fact, I think I know my mom and dad are on a boil water advisory too, and they live close to downtown. So anyways, I'll have to make sure that I check for our area. The website sounds like a good place to check it out. The other thing I'll mention briefly before I get on to showing you some things with velvet paper is that there is a new bundle that Stampin' Up! Has made available to customers, and it's going to be a stamp set and dies that will be coming out in the new January through June mini catalog. It's called Quite Curvy, and this is a sample that I've made, and you can see it's got the curvy dies and the curvy words, and they've made this available early, and they have also added on I wasn't going to say matching, but a coordinating Christmas set that has curvy designs and curvy words with it as well. The Christmas set is a limited time set only, so you can get it now and I guess running until the end of December. But starting in January, when the catalog goes live, where the Quite Curvy bundle will be, the Christmas portion, the Christmas set of it will not be available anymore. So just wanted to let you know about the Quite Curvy promotion that's going on, and that you can check that out on the Stampin' Up! Website or on my website, which is Stamp Ventures with Shauna. Okay, well, I think we're going to turn the camera down now, and I'll show you some of the things that I've got with red velvet paper. I've got kind of a lineup of things going on from my camera there, and just some things that I thought I'd try, because you might be wondering these same things about, can you do this or that with velvet paper? So I'm here to show you the results of my experiments. So here we go. Just going to turn the camera down. Avert your eyes if you need to give yourself a break from this motion. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think we're down pretty close to where we want the camera to be. Oh, I'm just adjusting. Are you still there? Okay. Just tightening all my little spots on the camera mount here, as I don't want it to come crashing down. Okay, I think I've got it. And I'll turn my iPad so that if there are any questions that come up, I'll be able to see those as well. All right, yes, there's our funny for today. We're all glad that they are not weighing us. And let me tell you, it's gonna get even harder because when it was summertime, at least we could just, I'm just gonna hop out and have a little walk. But right now, when there's 5 inches of snow and even worse than that, there's the ice, the layer of ice that's underneath it, it gets kind of scary out there, and it's not as easy to go for a walk. I can't complain. We have a treadmill in the basement. It's just not my most favorite thing, so I really need to get down there and just use it and not think about it too much. Okay, so Stampin' Up! Has this amazing red velvet paper in our Christmas catalog. Oh, and I was going to show you where it is. It comes 2 pieces of velvet paper per pack, and they are 12 by 12 pieces, and it's on page 63. Right there. And some of us, when we very first got our Christmas catalogs, we didn't really notice it very much, kind of just tucked away in the corner over here. And it was all the, the great big suites and bundles of products are kind of featured early on in the catalog. So this kind of got left to some of us, just got left behind. And so I'm glad that I got some and got a chance to try it because it is really beautiful. It's very soft and it feels pretty much just like velvet, but you can use it pretty much like paper too. So we'll get you started here with my 8 ways that you can use velvet paper. And there are actually more than 8 ways, but these are kind of 8 basic ways that you can give a try to it. And I'd like to hear if you come up with other ways that you've used the velvet paper. I would love to hear about them because I always find we can learn so much from each other. So my first suggestion is, this sounds really weird because it's not, I guess, not really so much of an idea, but is that you can just use it plain. So you can cut it into a strip and use a strip of it on a card or a scrapbook page. One of my favorite ways that I learned to use it plain was from my friend Kathy, who lives in Denver. She cut some velvet paper and put it in the bottom of a little box and just made it like lined velvet at the bottom of a box. Now, this is one of my boxes from the Stampin' Up! Countdown calendar or Advent calendar. And I don't know if I'm going to line all 25 boxes, but I could if I wanted to. But I just thought I'd show you how nicely it can finish off the bottom of my box. So that's the first way, is just use the plain, the red velvet paper, just plain and smooth. It's beautiful on its own, just the way it is. So my second way that I tried using it is stamping on it. And like, gee, can you stamp on velvet? Because I mean, it's got that nap and that velvety texture, and sure enough, you can. This first branch here, I stamped with classic early espresso ink. That worked out really well. And once it dried, it doesn't seem like it's coming off. It's staying on there pretty well. This second branch of berries, I've stamped with Memento black ink. And again, that stamped on well. It dried fairly quickly. Yeah. This third one, I stamped with my Stays On black ink, and it doesn't look as dark, and it might partly be because of the kind of ink it is, but it also could be that my StazOn ink, I think, needs to be juiced up a little bit with a refill. So it does seem a little bit lighter, and I'm not sure. Like I said, it could be that just my ink pad wasn't as juicy as it should have been, but it still works pretty well. And so yeah, you have lots of options for stamping on the red velvet paper. So that's idea number 2, to stamp on it. Idea number 3 I've got here is to cut or punch shapes. So die cut or punch with it. So here I've die cut those red berries. Those are the ones that I showed you with the stamp earlier. And then here I've punched a cat. And I was looking through my punches and trying to figure out, okay, what's something that would be, you know, soft and textured. And I'm like, oh, well, a little furry animal. You know, the color's not quite right. And I suppose, I'm not sure if you could take some ink and sponge or brush it on. Maybe you could, to make it like a brown cat or a darker, you know, darker color cat. But, you know, I guess it's Christmas cat. You could put like little red gemstones across for the collar. And I was kind of wondering when I went to punch this if it would really punch out well, because I thought, oh yeah, maybe it's going to jam up in the punch because of the extra thickness that, you know, kind of makes it feel like fabric. And it didn't. It punched as slick as a whistle. So punching and die cutting work really well with the velvet paper. All right, so that was idea number 3. Idea number 4 is to use an embossing folder of some kind. This is the one that I used, and I can't think of the name of it right now, and run the paper through the embossing folder. And now I'm just trying to see in my delayed screen if any of this is showing up for you. It embosses. Oh yeah, you are seeing it. It embosses quite beautifully. I was stunned at how well the embossing showed up on it. Now I haven't made anything with this, but I'm going to just kind of keep it out in my stamping area, and when I have an idea that strikes me, I will try and come up with something. I'm not sure if I'll use it for Christmas, or perhaps maybe something like Valentine's Day. And I think it's got to be like an over-the-top card, because this is an over-the-top embossing folder. So embossing works really, really well with the velvet paper. Give it a try, and try it with a few different embossing folders if you get a chance. Now, so that was number 4, emboss. Idea number 5 to try with the red velvet paper is to die cut and emboss at the same time. So you can do that by using dies such as the ones that come in the poinsettia die pack. So these dies, I'll show you an example in my package here. They have a part that die cuts the paper, that's the outer edge, and then they have a part that you lay on the inside, and you run it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine all at the same time, and the inside part does the embossing. So I did this with the poinsettia flowers. And one trick, some of you have maybe seen or heard this before, but for me it was life-changing, because I needed to die cut like hundreds of these poinsettias. I put a layer of packing tape over the 2 pieces, the outer cutting part and the inner embossing part, and then I took my scissors and trimmed out the excess packing tape in between the petals, and then that held those pieces together, so that when I was running them through the machine, like however many times that I did it, because I needed lots and lots of these petals, I didn't have to keep inserting the middle part into the outline part, and it just saved a whack of time. But they can still, I can go back and I can peel off this packing tape, and they can still be used individually, these two pieces, if you want to. Oh, I'm glad you liked the idea, Pam. It was a mind-blowing for me. And if you're worried about using packing tape, I have also heard stamping friends who have had success using that cling wrap that's called, oh shoot, I can't think of the name of it now. It's the really, really sticky cling wrap. Peel and cling or something like that. Oh, Diane, thank you so much. Yes, I was going to say Parisian something. The Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder. That's the one I tried out for the embossing here. And I'm glad that you guys like the packing tape idea. It literally saved me so much time, because then I could just throw these onto my cutting plate and then, so this is, some of you may have seen my picture that I posted before my video started. There is, you can see how each individual flower has been cut with the outside edge, and then the inside part of the petal has been embossed with the inner part of the die. And I took each individual petal and gave it a little fold, just like that. I gave it a little pinch, and where the center vein of the petal is, it has made it nice, just works really nicely to create a little bit of depth, little depth in there when you fold it, and it makes it easy to fold along that crease line. Thanks, Glenda. I knew my brain wasn't going to work tonight very well. The press and seal, that was the word I was trying to think of. You can also hold these together too with that press and seal cling wrap stuff. So hello to Melanie and others who have just hopped on in this last little bit. Okay, so I have to look back at my list. So number 5 idea was die cut and emboss at the same time with the dies that can do both. So the next idea that I came up with is, well, can I use the velvet paper for packaging? And the answer is yes. So here I've created a little velvet box using the mini curvy keepsake die. And I haven't decorated it yet. Still, again, thinking about what I might want to do for that. I think if I cut one of those cute, just little snowflake dies from the Snowflake Splendor set and pop that onto the red. I really like that idea of the contrast of the white snowflake on the red background. The mini curvy keepsake box has some cute little tags that go with it, and they have the little hole, so then you can just tie the tag onto there, and I think that's a nice idea. One of my other favorite things for the curvy keepsake boxes is, because they've got 2 little handles here at the top, is to take a die cut piece, maybe this one's a little big, I don't know, and write everybody's name on the tag that you slide in between the 2 handles, and that can become their place setting at the table for a special family meal. So I really like the curvy keepsake boxes for that, is to make a little place setting, a place card holder, and you can have a little treat in the middle for them, for your guests. So, oh, I'm so glad that you're enjoying the projects and that you like the card. Laura, you got a chance to make the card, and because you're one of my club ladies, and even though it looks like, wow, velvet and flocking and gold and some linen thread and whatnot, it actually goes together pretty quickly. Because when you're working with these kinds of materials, they just bring it to a whole new level very easily and quickly. Okay, so idea number 6 was packaging. Yes, they work for packaging. Idea number 7. What I started noticing about the paper as I was working with it is that it can roll and fold. Well, not fold, well, you can fold it with creases if you want to, but it can just kind of roll nicely. So I thought, okay, how about I wrap it around things? So some people make, say, make a card, like that's a gatefold card or a different kind of fold card, and they want to create a belly band or a band to go around their card. So you could use the velvet paper for that. But I also, when I was grocery shopping today, decided to buy a chocolate bar, and whoops, it's upside down. There we go. It's a Cadbury. There we go. Extra dark with nuts, the way I like it. And it wraps quite nicely around something like a chocolate bar. And I don't know how well this shows up for the camera, but you can see with the black cardstock, it's cracked a little bit along here as I was folding it around. The velvet paper really rolled around the edge quite nicely. Oh, and there it's kind of conformed to the edge of the chocolate bar, but it's not too crackly. Now, I did find that there does, I think there is a bit of grain in the paper. So you can take it in your hands and kind of roll this way and roll that way, and whichever way has a little bit more give, that may help it to wrap around something a little bit more smoothly and nicely. So you can check the grain on it. Oh, I know what else I was going to say. If you're wondering what size of paper I used to wrap around my chocolate bar, and well, it is a 100-gram chocolate bar, which might not mean anything if you live in the States, but here in Canada, we sell them in grams. So it's a 100-gram chocolate bar, and I used a 6-inch by 6-inch piece of paper, and I had to use a really, like this 6 inches just barely made it around the chocolate bar, so I had to use like half a strip, well, basically a strip of tear and tape that was, I was gonna say folded in half. I don't know if that's exactly right. What I did was I took the tear and tape and I put it, I guess I put it not all the way onto my paper. I put it halfway onto the paper so that half of it was sticking off the edge, and then I peeled off the top, and then I rolled all the stickiness back onto the cards, the velvet paper, so that it was like basically half wide, and then I folded the other piece on top of that half wide strip to hold it together. So 6 by 6 for a 100-gram chocolate bar, at least the Cadbury kind. All right, and my last way, number 8. We're already here at number 8. I'd have to say this I got mixed results on. This is heat embossing, and it does work. Hold it up. As you can see, it's not as smooth and shiny as it would normally be if you were embossing on a piece of paper. All the little fibers make the embossing rough, but I was amazed that it even worked at all, because well, I did, to start with, I did use my embossing buddy, and then it looked, kind of powdery white, which looked really weird, and I stamped my word with the Versamark ink. And then when I poured the gold embossing powder on it, the first time I shook it off, there was still a lot of embossing powder all over it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that embossing powder is just gonna get right into those fibers, and this isn't gonna work. But then when I turned it over the second time, I gave it a really good flick, few flicks, I should say. And then I looked again, and I was like, oh yeah, now the embossing powder is only where the Versamark ink is. And yeah, and then I heated it, and as you can see, like it's not smooth. It's kind of rough from all the fibers and whatnot. But if you're wondering, there you go. You can heat emboss on the velvet paper. Pam, I noticed you've got something coming through. What if you used the Stamparatus and embossed a couple of times? Right. Yeah, because what's happening here, that's a good point, Pam, is the the heated embossing powder is like soaking in. And so if you did a couple layers, oh yeah, that might work. Then you get a buildup of the embossing powder, and you might get it shinier and easier to see. Because right now it's kind of like it's all soaked in to the velvet. But yes, yeah, it does. It looks old world, and and when you feel it, it's almost like something that's been manufactured, that they did at a print shop or something. Like, it doesn't seem like something that we would be able to do. Anyways, that's number 8. And I started scribbling down other things that I haven't even talked about yet. Like maybe there's something you can do with shimmer paint. I don't know. Or spritzing with shimmer paint and alcohol. I haven't tried that yet. I haven't tried any kind of scrapbooking with it. I thought that this paper would be beautiful for covering a special notebook. If you wanted to make a really touchy-feely, very fancy notebook, it would be nice for that. And always for Christmas, to do some tags. And it is white paper on the back, so you can, do something on the front for your tag. And let's see if I've got a pen nearby. It's not as close as I thought it would be. Okay, I've got the next best thing, which is a Sharpie. So yeah, you can, write to and from, and so lots and lots of things that you can do with your velvet paper. And now I should mention that this is, I need to go back and compare this paper to what's in our annual catalog. We have some velveteen paper, I think. And so in the next few days, I should try and post and see if I see any differences between the two. And if any of you have noticed any differences, I'd love to hear what you've discovered about the velvet paper and the velveteen paper. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. If you have any questions, give me a shout. If you're looking to get some velvet paper, I'm actually going to be placing an order tomorrow, early afternoon around 2 p.m. So you can get it on group shipping if you'd like to order some and you're in Canada. And I thank you so much for stopping by for today's video. We'll talk to you another time, and I wish you a very good week and a happy Remembrance Day to my friends in Canada. Bye for now.